Hello, what's going on? This is 316 coming at y'all with another talk with y'all. Happy Mother's Day, first of all, to all the females out there that's taking care of their children, and all the fathers that's playing both parts of being the mother and the father. But I don't like saying that because I think that term is takes away from the women a little bit. Just like when it's Father's Day and a woman has been the mother and the father, I believe having saying, women, you're a father on Father's Day takes away from the real fathers that's doing their thing. Let the mothers do the mother's thing and let the fathers do the father's thing. If you're a mother and you don't have a husband, and if you're a father and you don't have a wife, it's still your day and you can't occupy 2 days. But that's another whole nother story. But happy Mother's Day, regardless to all the females out there that's taking care of their children. My mom in my life has been an inspiration, and she raised me well. 5 kids. Was she had her troubles, and she overcame them. But even through her troubles, she still managed to take care and make sure we was okay. I've been in the trenches where my mom was in those times where it was hard to manage, and I was there to witness by God's grace that we made it through. A lot of times we didn't know when our last meal or when our next meal was going to be. And many times my mom came through with the meal. She made it happen even though she was in her ways. And a lot of us young black males growing up in the projects in the 80s and the 90s, they were transitional years, I believe, because at that time when I was growing up, drugs were high and in high demand, and if you hear screaming and everything in the back, that's my wife. Happy Mother's Day to my wife, most definitely. I love my wife and I'm grateful for her, and she's a great mother and a great wife, and I appreciate her, and God gave me her, and that was a blessing that I couldn't even conjure up. But we're gonna get into a little bit more on that. But back in those times, growing up, many boys and girls and children didn't have. Well, I'm gonna put it to you like this. When I was coming up, families were more together. There was more of a masculine structure, and you can understand the difference between a man and a woman's role and a man and a woman's appearance, back then better than you can do it now. Today, you don't know who is who because roles has switched. But that's truth. If you ask anybody that was born in the 80s and born in the 90s, families were more structured. Even going back to the 70s and the 60s, families were more structured. Family values were high in regard, but the thing that they was missing was the church. I believe they was missing the church in their families back in those days, and we're dealing with the residue of the increment absurdities that we accepted over the years. So going back to what I was saying, back in the 80s and 90s, families were more structured. Now going towards the 2000s, still in the 90s was still cool, but going into the 2000s, you seen a drastic change in motherhood and fatherhood. But I think mothers were, the women were more stronger back then than they are today. They had more morals back then than today, I believe. I remember my grandmom. She was strong. She was a woman of God. She she did everything that she could. She took no nonsense from nobody. She was disciplined and she was obedient. You know, rest in peace to my grandma, Barbara Jackson Coleman, or Barbara Coleman Jackson. And she was a minister, you know, under a pastor. So it wasn't like, she was a pastor of a whole church and she was the leader. She was a minister under a pastor, and she preached when he wasn't available or he had to take a leave. And many times when she wasn't preaching, I remember her going to the convalescent homes, and I used to I used to go with her to the convalescent homes and watch her minister to those people, to those older people that had sicknesses and things like that. So that was very interesting and inspiring. And my grandmom, she took care of me as my mom was going through her transition. As I was saying, she had her problems and things like that, and she went to get help. And that's the first thing. Just being a human being, and even knowing that you have responsibilities, you have to. If the head is sick, the whole body is messed up. If the head of the household is damaged, the whole house is damaged. And the order has fallen out some way, somehow. But I remember my mom not having, a steady male figure in the house, and those times were hard. And back in those times, there was a lot of that, as I was growing older, as becoming a teenager. There was a lot of that. A lot of my friends that I know of, they all didn't have both parents in the house. We always found ourselves, understanding each other's situations, and that's why back in those days there was a lot of gangs formulating and a lot of cliques formulating, because the male figure was in the house and the mom had to play both roles. And that a female don't understand male things, and vice versa. Males don't understand certain female things. But back in those days, you've seen where the females were more structured and more disciplined and took no nonsense, while the men were out being gangsters and pimps and cheating on their wives and stuff like that. So it was very important to have, I believe, your mom in the household during those times, because you needed some type of balance. You understand? Especially when you didn't have a male figure, But what I come to understand is, everybody go through their things, go through their problems, and my mom was genuine and everything that she did, and I'm blessed that she's still alive today and I can talk to her and things of that nature. That's a beautiful thing. I respect and honor my mom regardless of what she did in the past, or whatever she was going through. I still respected her, and that's very important. Honor your mother and your father. That's a real strong statement that the Lord had made, and he made it plenty of times. He don't say that just one time. He said it in the Old and the New Testament. Honor thy father and thy mother. That means respect them. That doesn't mean, anything more than that. Just honor and respect them. because they gave you life. They gave up a piece of their life for you. And a lot of children take that for granted these days. And you can see how in today's world, even the mothers has mentality changed, and it was changing during the 2000s, during that time period. I think the early 2000s, late 2000 to 2010 was the time where things were changing, and now you see the fruits of what the fruits of that came out of it, and you see how the structure is now. It's not structured, it's not in order, but that's either here or there. But the fact is, we still have to honor and respect our parents regardless of what they go through, because it's very important. Just that simple. Very important. So I give thanks to the Lord that He gave me a mother and gave me a wife that loves me dearly, and I love them dearly, and they are great parents and great inspirations. And I don't know where would I be without them in my life. You understand what I'm saying? And that's being honest and true. I didn't really want to come on here today and talk about anything, but I'm here, and the Lord came to me. I don't like to say it like that, but He gave me an unction. He gave me something, and I was like, because at the beginning of this year, I said, this is the year of the purge. This is the year of the purge. And what I mean by that, not the purge that you see on TV, the movie, not that nonsense. I'm talking about a real burning, quenching purge. Purging your life of things that may stop you from serving the Most High. Excuse me. So I'm purging myself as much as possible this year, and this is going to be a new series, The Purge, and I like it because it's exactly what I'm going through right now. There's no truer message than a message where you're actually going through something or went through something, and you can tell it, and it can be scripturally based without even adding scripture to it. That's how the Holy Spirit works. You automatically notice it. So this is the year of the purge, and we're going to be talking about purging ourselves on many topics. And I'm going to do this until the end of the year. I don't know how many episodes or segments we're going to have on the purge, but it's going to be plenty. And we're going to finish up this year strong. There's other things I want to talk about, but I don't want to be too long. I just wanted to come on here and say Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, and y'all keep on doing what y'all doing, and it's time for the real mothers and real women to stand up and show the world that all women are not with the nonsense that's going on out here. The TikTok moms and the OnlyFans moms, you understand what I'm saying? Those type of females has took away from the genuine female. That's enough about that. But I went 15 minutes almost, and I think that's enough on that. God bless everyone. I hope everybody have a great Mother's Day, and may God be with you all. This is 316, and we're gone.